Hello everyone. My name is Emily, and I am so happy to welcome you to today's podcast. Today, we are going to talk about something very special. We will talk about the shocking English phrases that native speakers always use. I hope you're ready to listen and join me on this fun and interesting adventure. Let's discover the magic and charm of English together. Have you ever wondered why sometimes English seems so surprising? You might hear words and phrases in movies, on TV, or when you talk to your friends, but you don't always understand what they really mean, even though you have learned some English in school. That's not your fault. English is full of surprises, and a big part of this is because of the phrases native speakers use every day. These phrases can sound very different from the English you learn in your textbooks. Some of them have secret meanings. Some of them are even a little bit funny. All of them are very useful. Let's take a walk, almost like we are exploring a giant jungle full of English. We will find these English phrases hiding behind trees and rocks. Are you ready to see what we find? Let's begin. First, let's talk about greetings. You know how in your textbook you might learn to say, good morning, good afternoon, or hello? But did you know that most native speakers do not say these all the time? They have so many special, shocking ways to say hello to each other. Sometimes, when friends meet, they just say, hey. It is simple, but it is friendly and warm. You might also hear them say, what's up? They do not really want you to tell them every single thing that is up in your life. It just means, how are you? You can answer by saying, not much or I'm good. Sometimes, people will say, how's it going? This is also a friendly way to ask how you are. You do not need to answer with a big story. Just saying, fine, thanks is enough, or not bad is good too. Isn't that easy and cool? Let's go to another phrase. Native speakers almost always say, thank you, and you're welcome. But did you know that there are many other ways to say these things? If someone gives you something, you can say, thanks a lot or thanks so much. If you want to sound really casual, you can just say, thanks. Some friends will even say, thanks a million. This means they are really happy about it. Now, what if someone says thank you to you? You could say, you're welcome, but many people say, no problem or don't mention it. You might even hear someone say, anytime. These all just mean that they are happy to help you. Next, let's visit the world of apologizing. In your school books, you may read that you should say, I am sorry. This is a good way to say it, but in real life, native speakers sometimes use different words. If a friend bumps into you, they might quickly say, my bad. This is a funny way to admit a small mistake. If they want to sound very polite, they may say, I apologize or sorry about that. And sometimes, if you don't hear what someone said, you can simply say, sorry or excuse me. These are all excellent ways to be polite. Now, let's talk about showing surprise. If something is really shocking or amazing, native speakers have many phrases they like to use. One is, no way. This means they can hardly believe what just happened. Or they might say, are you serious? This shows that they are surprised. Sometimes, you will hear people say, you've got to be kidding me. This does not mean they want a joke, it just means the person is shocked by the news. Do you ever hear someone say, awesome? This word is used when something is very cool or exciting. For example, if your friend wins a game, you can say, that's awesome. You could also say, that's cool or that's amazing. How easy but powerful these words are. You might be surprised by how often people use very simple words to show different feelings. If someone does not want to do something, they may just say, I'm good. For example, if someone asks, do you want more cookies? If you do not want any more, you can say, I'm good, thanks. This means, no thank you. Another similar phrase is, I'm all set, which means you have what you need. Now, let's talk about one of the most shocking things about English, the way native speakers sometimes speak in short, easy phrases that may not match your textbooks. For example, if someone is leaving, they might say, see you instead of goodbye, or even just, later. Friends may use, take care or catch you later to say goodbye in a kind way. How about agreeing with someone? In English, you might learn yes, but there are so many fun ways to say yes. People often say, sure, or absolutely, or even you bet. If a friend really agrees with what you say, they might say, exactly or totally. These words show you really think the same thing as your friend. You can also disagree in a nice way. If you do not agree, you can say, not really or I'm not sure about that instead of just saying no. If someone gives an answer that surprises you, you might say, really? This is a polite way to show you do not agree. It's not rude if you say it with a kind voice. Do you know what's even more shocking? Sometimes English speakers use questions to be polite instead of giving direct orders. For example, if they want someone to pass the salt, they probably won't say, "Pass me the salt." They will say, "Could you pass the salt, please?" Or "Would you mind giving me the salt?" These are very gentle ways to ask for help. People also use lots of little words to show they are listening. If you are telling a story, your friend might say, "Uh-huh," or "I see," or "Right," or "Oh, okay." These small words tell you that you can keep talking and your friend is paying attention. Some people nod too. Do you use words like this in your own language? Let's imagine you try something for the first time and you like it. You might want to show your happiness. Native speakers often say, "I love it," or "This is great." If it tastes really, really good, you can say, "This is delicious." But sometimes, if someone is very hungry, they might say, "I could eat a horse." This does not mean they want to eat an animal. It just means they are very hungry. English is also full of funny ways to give advice. For example, if someone is trying to do something hard and does not want to give up, you might hear people say, "Hang in there." This means, "Please continue. Don't quit." Or people might say, "Keep it up." This means, "Please do your best just like you are doing now." Sometimes, people like to say, "Break a leg," before someone performs on stage or takes a test. This does not mean they want you to get hurt. It is actually a way to wish someone good luck. Surprising, isn't it? Let's think about when people do not know something. Native speakers have many ways to say "I do not know." They might say, "I have no idea," or "I'm not sure." Sometimes, especially when they do not want to answer, they might say, "Your guess is as good as mine." This means nobody really knows the answer. English speakers love to use certain words to show excitement or happiness. One of these words is "wow." This is a simple but strong way to express joy or surprise. They might also say, "Yay," or "Hooray," if an exciting thing has happened, like winning a game or getting good news. Now, let's go on an adventure with one of my favorite phrases, "Let's get started." This is a way to invite others to begin something together. Sometimes, if someone wants to know if you are ready, they might say, "Ready to go?" Or "Are you all set?" If you are ready, you can answer, "Let's do this," or "I'm ready." Native speakers often use what are called filler words. These are small words that people say when they are thinking about what to say next. Examples of these include, like, "Well, and you know." For example, someone might say, "Well, I'm not sure," or "It's a little strange." Sometimes, people use short questions to show they want to know more. They might say, "And then?" or "What happened next?" or "Really?" These are all signs that they want you to keep sharing your story. What if someone tries to tell you something important but you don't really understand? You should never be afraid to say, "Can you repeat that?" or "I didn't catch that." Native speakers often say, "Sorry, what was that?" or "Could you say that again?" Remember, it's always okay to ask someone to explain again or to speak more slowly. Let's imagine that someone offers you help. You can say, "That would be great," or "That sounds perfect." This makes the other person feel happy because you accepted their offer politely. If you do not want the help, you can say, "I'm okay, but thank you." That is a very gentle and friendly way to say no. Have you ever heard phrases that are actually about the weather? English speakers sometimes use the weather to describe how they feel. For example, if someone feels very happy, they might say, "I'm on cloud 9." This means they are super happy. Or someone might say, "It's raining cats and dogs outside." This means it is raining a lot. When someone is surprised, they might shout, "You're kidding," or "Shut up." This does not mean you should be quiet. It just means, "Wow, I cannot believe it." But remember, "shut up" can sound rude if you say it in an angry way. So always listen to the way people say it and look at their faces. Do you sometimes study a lot and feel tired? Native speakers have some shocking ways to talk about this, too. If someone is very tired, they might say, "I'm beat," or "I'm worn out." Instead of "I am very hungry," people might say, "I'm starving." These phrases sound strong, but they are just funny ways to talk about feelings. If you do not like something, you do not have to say, "I do not like it." You can say, "It's not my cup of tea." For example, if your friend likes scary movies but you do not, you can say, "Watching horror movies is not my cup of tea." It's a polite way to say, "I'm not interested." When someone does something nice for you, you can say, "I owe you one." This means, "I will help you next time." Or, if you made a mistake, you can say, "I messed up," or "I made a mistake." That's how native speakers talk about accidents. Some phrases are about time. If you will do something very quickly, you can say, in a second or in no time. If you have to wait, you can say, hold on or hang on. These are ways to tell someone to wait for a little while. When people finish something, they might say, all done, or that's it. Sometimes, if someone has had enough of something, they might say, I'm done. But if they do not want to continue a conversation, they may say, let's drop it, which means, let's not talk about this anymore. Now, let's move on and talk about phrases that native speakers use to wish people good luck. We already talked about break a leg. People also say, fingers crossed. This means they are hoping something good will happen. If you want to encourage a friend, you might say, you can do it. Or go for it. These are ways to help people feel brave. Let's talk about promises. If someone really means what they say, they might say, I promise, or cross my heart. This is a cute way to show that the person is not lying. Have you ever been in a hurry? People in a rush might say, hurry up. Or let's go. If someone is moving too slowly, a native speaker might say, step on it. This does not mean you really step on anything, it just means move quickly. Here is a funny phrase that you might hear when someone is thinking hard about something or is a little worried. People say, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. This means they are hoping for the best. It comes from an old tradition. If you want to show someone that you understand them or that you feel the same way, you can say, I know the feeling or I hear you. These are nice ways to show empathy. People also use phrases that come from sports. If you want to encourage someone, you might say, you're on the ball. This means you are alert and ready. If someone needs to start doing something, you can say, it's your turn or the ball is in your court. Let's think about helping people. If someone needs to move heavy furniture, you can say, do you need a hand? This means, can I help you? If someone helps you, you can say, I appreciate it. This is similar to thank you. You are probably noticing that native speakers often do not use the full, formal phrases you find in textbooks. Their English is soft, friendly, and sometimes very funny. This is one of the things that makes English such a lovely language. Now, let's look at a few more shocking phrases. Sometimes, if a problem is not important, people will say, no big deal or it's not a big deal. This means, do not worry about it. If you want someone to relax, you could say, take it easy, or chill out, or even just relax. These are all nice ways to calm your friends. Sometimes, people want to say they do not mind something. If you ask, do you want to watch a movie? And your friend does not care what kind, they might say, I'm easy. That means, anything is okay for me. Some people say, either is fine, or whatever works. All of these are friendly and flexible. Let's talk about making plans. When a friend wants to meet, they might say, let's hang out. This just means, let's spend time together. Or they could say, let's catch up. This means, let's meet and talk about what has happened in our lives. Do you ever hear words that sound like they are from a story? For example, once in a blue moon. This means something happens very rarely. If someone says, that was a piece of cake, it means something was very easy to do. How about feelings? Instead of saying, I am sad, people might say, I'm feeling down, or I'm a bit blue. And if someone cheers up, they may say, I'm back on track. If you're really, really happy, you can say, I'm over the moon. Some phrases sound strange if you do not use them often. For example, if you want to wish your friend a good night's sleep, you can say, sleep tight. If you want to apologize for interrupting, you can say, sorry to bother you, or sorry for interrupting. Let's talk about being honest. Native speakers sometimes say, to be honest, before telling their real opinion. For example, to be honest, I didn't like the movie. If a friend shares good news, you can show happiness by saying, good for you. Or that's fantastic. If someone says something you do not believe, you can say, I'm not buying it. This means, I don't think what you're saying is true. When someone makes a mess or does something wrong, sometimes you want to say, it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. Native speakers also like to say, nobody's perfect. These are very kind things to say. Now, let's think about when you want to end a conversation politely. Sometimes, you can say, I've got to go, or I need to run. These let your friend know you have to leave. If you want to compliment someone, you can say, well done, or good job. If someone is worried or shy, you can encourage them by saying, don't worry, or you'll do great. Did you know people sometimes use the names of days and times in special ways? If it is Friday and someone is excited for the weekend, they might say TGIF, which stands for Thank God It's Friday. If something will happen in the future but not directly, you can say, see you around, or catch you later. How about when someone is talking about something secret? They can say, mum's the word. This means, please do not tell anyone. If you want to wish someone a good day, you can say, have a good one, or have an awesome day. If you want to return to a topic you talked about before, you can say, by the way. For example, by the way, did you hear what happened yesterday? English speakers use so many phrases to keep conversations light and friendly. For example, if you do not know how to answer, you can say, let me think, or give me a second. To close a conversation, you might say, take care, or have a nice day. Simple kindness. Now, did you enjoy learning all these shocking phrases that native speakers use in English? There are so many more, but now you know some very useful ones. My best advice is to listen carefully when you hear English spoken outside of your classroom or textbook. Listen to movies, to songs, to people talking. Notice the small words and special phrases that they use. The most important thing to remember is that speaking English is about connection. When you use these friendly phrases, people feel warm and comfortable around you. It helps you make friends and share stories. Let's celebrate the beauty and fun of learning together. Try using one or two of these shocking English phrases the next time you talk to someone in English. Maybe it will surprise your friends or even your English teacher. I hope you had fun today and learned a lot. Learning English phrases is a great way to understand the culture and the people who speak the language. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, and the best way to get better is just to keep trying. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I had a wonderful time talking with you about the shocking English phrases that native speakers use. I hope you feel brave and excited to try them for yourself. Every time you use a new phrase, it is like adding a new color to your painting. Let's keep learning together. Until next time, take care, keep smiling, and remember, English is not just a subject, but a fun adventure. See you soon.